All right, hey everybody, what's going on? Good afternoon. It's your girl here, Tiffany, coming through here live in effect. So today's video, I'm going to be talking about Florence Scovel Shinn, who is the author of the book called The Game of Life and How to Play It. So March is the month of women history, okay? But one of the reasons why I actually chose to talk on this subject because I really like to get in this little kind of stuff right here, dealing with Gnosticism teaching and esoteric knowledge and all of that. So the book is very fascinating to me and very interesting. I would encourage people to read it. Okay, now there might be things in the book that is disagreeable to certain individuals. Certain individual may not agree with certain things that she reading in the book and what she has said or whatnot because of the context is used and what have you. So I get it, I understand. But again, I would encourage it because it's still like a motivational book and it's deal with a lot of spiritual teachings and whatnot. So I think it's a great book, in my honest opinion. All right, so I'm going into the history about who is Florence Scovel Shinn and also where you can find her work as well. So make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and share the channel. And shout out to Bars and Chains Network. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for coming through. Shout out to you. Peace. All right, so let me go ahead and get started with the information. So, real quick, I want to go into the source. So, Florence Scovel Shinn, right? As you can see, this is her over here to the right. Now, yes, she happened to be a woman of European descent. However, like I said, she has written a great work, and her book is pretty fascinating to me. So, and plus, this is Women History Month, okay? So, anyways, she was an American artist, book illustrator who became a New Thought spiritual teacher and metaphysical writer in her middle years. So, in the New Thought circle, Shinn is best known for her first book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. She expressed her philosophy as the invisible forces are ever working for man who is always pulling the strings himself, though he does not know it, owing to the vibratory power of words, whatever man voices, he began to attract. Okay. So she was born in Camden, or was it Camden? Yeah, she was born in Camden, New Jersey, the daughter of Aiden Colandit Scovel and Elizabeth Hopkins Scovel. Her great great grandfather, Francis Hopkins, signed the Declaration of Independence and is the earliest documented American composer of song. She was educated in Philadelphia, where she attended the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts and there met her future husband, the artist Everett Shinn. After marriage, they moved into a studio apartment at 112 Waverly Place near Washington Square, New York. So Everett built a theater next door and wrote three plays in which Florence played a leading role. They spent their summers in Plainfield, New Hampshire, in a colonial style house designed by her husband. Florence and Everett divorced in 1912. Right. So as an author, right, and as an illustrator, she worked in the early 1900s and she had illustrated fiction in Harper's and other magazines as well as popular novels such as Mrs. Wiggs and the Cabbage Patch. So Mrs. Witch of the Cabbage Patch, excuse me. That was in 1901. The Society of Illustrators elected her to an associate membership in 1903, even though it did not admit women to full membership in the organization until 1922. All right. So then it also goes down to talk about her biographical sketch. Okay. It says her kings sense of humor crops out in every group, and the turn of a line gives a comical effect. The peculiar gift that Mrs. Sheen is endowed with is that she can draw the most pitiful little figures and yet infuse into the picture a happy, healthy atmosphere that impresses us with the worth and joy of living. Her characters are never caricature, they are appealing and provoke the laughter that bears no malice. All right, so then it goes into the writings and new thoughts. So her metaphysical work began with her self-published The Game of Life and How to Play It in 1925. Your Word is Your Wand was published in 1928, and The Secret Door to Success in 1940. So after her death, another two works were published: The Power of the Spoken Word in 1945 by Shinn Press and The Magic Path of Intuition. This last book was published by Louise Hay in 2013, who received from a rare books dealer a small typewritten unpublished manuscript of the last writings of Florence Scovel Shinn, accompanied by a cover letter which said in part, "Several months ago, we came across a unique item from that collection that we think you may have an interest in. The item is in an original type written manuscript by Florence Scovel Shinn. The Magic Path of Intuition. We're contacting you to see if you or Hay House have an interest in purchasing this rare original manuscript positioned to share its content with the world." All right, so as you can see, these are the pictures. It looked like she illustrated. Yes, she drew the picture herself. So as you see, the woman was very talented, very gifted. Okay. So now it goes into talking about her book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. So it basically includes quotes from the Bible and anecdotal explanation of the author's understanding of God and man. Her philosophy centers on the power of positive thoughts and usually includes instruction for verbal or physical affirmation. All right, so it goes down to say her books, Your Word is Your One and The Game of Life and How to Play It, were released as audiobooks in 2014 and 2015, respectively, with narration by actress Hillary Hawkins. Okay, so Sheen is considered part of the New Thought movement, as her writing followed in the tradition of Fina Kumbi and Mary Baker Eddy, Emma Curtis Hopkins, and both Charles Fillmore and Myrtle Fillmore, co-founders of the Unity Church. So motivational author Louise Hay acknowledged her as an early influence. All right, so this is her story, this is her life and whatnot. So now we're going to go into the book, which is The Game of Life of How to Play It. Okay. So so let's go on this website right here. So you can go on the website that I'm about to show you guys. This is sacredtext.com. Okay. You can go here to sacredtext.com, right? And you can find all kinds of ancient texts, all kinds of spiritual texts, whatever. Any books that you're looking for, whether it be spiritual, ancient, whatever the case may be, you can find it on here. All right. So right here, it talk about the words of Florence Scovel Sheen. So let's go into this session. The Game of Life and How to Play It, which came out in 1925. So the first thing it's talk about is the game. So go through this. It says the game. Most people consider life a battle, but it is not a battle. It is a game. It is a game, however, which cannot be played successfully without the knowledge of spiritual law. And the Old and the New Testament gives the rules of the game with wonderful clearness. Jesus Christ taught that it was a great game of giving and receiving. Whatsoever a man soweth shall he also weep. That means that whatever man sends out in word or deed will return to him what he gives, he will receive. So if he gives hate, he will receive hate. If he gives love, he will receive love. If he gives criticism, he will receive criticism. If he lies, he will be lied to. If he cheats, he will be cheated. We are also taught that the imagining faculty plays a leading part in the game of life. So it says, keep thy heart or imagination with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Proverbs 4:23. This means that what man a certain disease, it was a very rare disease and difficult to get, but he pictured it continually and read about it until it manifests in his body, and he died, the victim of distorted imagination. So we see, to play successfully the game of life, we must train the imaging faculty. A person with an imaging faculty trained to be image only good, excuse me, imagine. Well, hold on, my bad. A person with imaging faculty trained to image only good brings into his life every righteous desire to his heart, health, wealth, love, friends, perfect self-expression, his highest ideals. The imagination has been called the scissors of the mind, and it is ever cutting day by day. The pictures man sees there, and sooner or later he meets his own creation in his outer world. To train the imagination successfully, man must understand the workings of his mind. The Greeks say, know thyself. All right. Then she goes down to talk about the three parts of the mind, the three departments of the mind. So there are three departments of the mind: the subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. The subconscious is simply power without direction. It is like steam or electricity, and it does what it is directed to do. It has no power of induction. Whatever man feels deeply or images clearly, it impressed upon the subconscious mind and carried out in meaningless detail. For example, a woman I know, when a child, always make believe she was a widow. She dressed up in black clothes and wore a long black veil, and people thought she was very clever and amusing. She grew up and married a man with whom she was deeply in love. In a short time he died, and she wore black and a sweeping veil for many years. The picture of herself as a widow was impressed upon the subconscious mind, and in due time worked itself out, regardless of the Hovic created. So the conscious mind has been called mortal or carnal mind. It is the human mind and sees life as it appears to be. It sees death, disaster, sickness, poverty, limitation of every kind, and it impresses the subconscious mind. And it says the superconscious mind is the God mind within each man, and is the realm of perfect ideas. It is the perfect pattern spoken by Plato, the divine design, for there is a divine design for each person. There is a place that you are to feel, and no one else can feel, something you are to do, which no one else can do. There is a perfect picture in this subconscious mind. It usually flashes across the conscious as the unattainable ideal, something too good to be true. All right. So it says, in reality, it is man's true destiny flashed to him from the infinite intelligence which is within himself. Okay. And also it says, many people, however, are in ignorance of their true destinies and are striving for things and situation which do not belong to them, and would only bring failure and dissatisfaction if attaining. So just so far, just want to give you guys just that general idea. So one thing about this book, I think that is pretty fascinating, especially when she go into the part about the subconscious, superconscious, and conscious mind. So the subconscious mind is there, but it has no power. The conscious mind see things from the physical standpoint, and the superconscious mind, basically what she was saying about the superconscious mind, right, is the God mind. Okay. So this book kind of reminds me of one book which is called My Reality. So if you guys never heard that book before, My Reality, Yeah, so the book My Reality, The Universe is Mental by Enoch Tom. All right, so let me just go ahead and because that's what this book remind me of. Like when I read it, it reminds me of that. I'm trying to see. So yeah. Anyways, so if you guys want to look up the book by Enoch Tom, the My Reality or Secret of Everything, you can download it yourself. Actually, you can download it for free because I had it before. But yeah, that's what it makes me think of. Like uh, this book and this information that is put out there, right, deals with the concept of narcissism and understanding esoteric knowledge and occultism. All right, so this I admire stuff like this in a way that you able to see God from the immaterial concept and also see God from the physical concept of things, like as the mind of humans, as far as human behavior, and also see God as part of organism as well. So kind of like you dealing with the concept of pantheism in a way, right? You deal with pantheism, or you also incorporating panpsychism. So the whole thing is, anytime people deal with the concept of religion and things like that, religion should be understood from the spiritual concept, the spiritual point of view, and not taken as a literal thing. Not taken from a place where you actually take the Bible for what it is. You take it at you take it seriously, or you take the Quran very seriously, or you take the Torah very seriously, and you deal with it from the concrete instead of understanding the metaphorical meanings behind these books and what's the whole purpose of them. You know what I'm saying? Because they pretty much are metaphorical, right? They deal with mythology. If people understand the mythology, then they wouldn't be so worried and be so afraid of the concept of heaven or hell. But people that's behind that's using these religion ideologies, right? They have used it as a way to create their own school of thoughts. They have created their own system as a way to bring about control mechanism over other people, to keep people under control, to keep people from thinking outside the box. And you know what I'm saying? It was all about creating their concept of power, wealth, and prestige. That's what it's about. So, all right. So this book right here, well, this one's called Secret of Everything. So I want to show y'all that real quick. So it's a lot. It just remind me of this author and his work or their work, etc. So check this out right here. Secret of Everything, Key to the Universe. Okay. So Enoch Ton, creator of My Reality, right? Okay. So right here in this book, as you can see, secret of everything, integrated mindset, having complete perception, secret of speed, secret of power. So secret of everything, say the secret of everything is mental. All talent, skill, power, and speed and ability is mental. Nothing is impossible. Anything is possible. There is nothing you cannot be, do, or have. You can be, do, and have anything you want as long as you have the mind for it. The inner world creates our outer world. Your beliefs, intentions, and emotion creates your reality. Magic is causing change to occur in accordance with will. Whenever your mind focuses, your energy goes. Everything is mind. Mind is everything. The universe is mind. Mind controls everything. Mind is reality. Reality is mind. The master of mind is mind of everything. So when I see this, I see that correlation. So if anybody get involved into spirituality, right? I would encourage, personally, this is me talking. I would encourage people to deal with Gnosticism and occultism and esoteric knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So if you deal with, let's say if you deal with Islam, for example, right? If you study Islam, there's nothing wrong with dealing with Islam as far as like, if you want to be a Sunni Muslim, that's fine. But I would encourage people to look into Sufi knowledge, because when you do deal with Sufism, that's when you deal with the esoteric part of Islam, because you're dealing with understanding from beyond the concrete of things, beyond just reading from the physical standpoint. You'll be able to learn how to think and deal with the abstract of it, and be able to deal with the symbolic meaning and have the interpretation and have better understanding. So if humanity was able to learn how to think outside the box, you know what I'm saying, when you deal with mythology, or I need to take Father John Manson. I don't know who Father John Manson is. I don't know who that is. I don't know who the hell you talking about. But anyways, all right. So, anywho, as I was saying though, um, if you can go beyond the concrete, right, and understand it from the abstract point of view, and be able to learn how to think outside the box, it will make a lot more sense. And a lot of people don't know how to think outside of the box of the concept of religion, because they're stuck in the box of religion. So they're dealing with, well, what's the physicality of this? Yeah, what's the physicality of this? What is the physical meaning behind all of this? Instead of just thinking, well, there is a metaphorical meaning, and those metaphors have a lot to be those metaphors have a way to be able to help us to better understand nature, be able to learn how to connect with nature and the universe. Again, people always argue that, oh, religion has done this, religion has done that. It ain't that the religion itself has done something. It's the people that take these religion ideology to the literal sense and try to impose it on people to bring about control mechanism, to boost their own ego, to generate profit. Because at one point in time, what we know today as religion was actually start off as spirituality. You know what I'm saying? It was a way for the ancestral ones, right? The people that came, way before us. They were using what we call today religion as a way to connect with the natural forces of the universe. I mean, and understand the universe around them, understand nature, and be able to operate and work within nature, be one. And if we continue to have that, that's how we'll be able to operate. But we learn how to be scared. We have learned how to live in fear, because we're not taught how to be more free and be able to move around and be able to do things, be able to enjoy life the way we should be able to enjoy it, because we have someone or people come along and tell us about these invisible places called heaven and hell, and not explain to people exactly what heaven and hell is, but just use those things as a scare tactic, so to keep people living in a state of fear, and they can feed off of people's fear. Okay. Okay, well, I have to look into that. Right now we going through some weather changes over here where I'm at. So, and I ain't the only one that's affected by this. So if you hear me kind of coughing up a little bit, I'm just getting over a sinus. All right, I do have sinuses. So yeah, I just got over there not too long ago. So yeah. All right. But anyways, yeah, that's just my whole thought on this. That's my whole point of this video. Hopefully you guys gain something out of it. But yeah, as I'm saying, religion should not be used as a form of control mechanism, but as a way to be able to give people guidance and be able to get people to like understand things from a metaphorical point of view and all of that. And then another thing I have, the biggest issue I have, especially with the atheists, they're no different from the religious people, because if you're looking for a physical concrete of things, that means you're not thinking outside the box either. Because if you can't think and say, well, maybe there's not a physicality, maybe it's just some type of folklore, and maybe it's just a story to tell so people can see and be able to, find some humor or whatever the case may be. Instead of you guys thinking like that, for those of you that are atheists, y'all looking for the physical, y'all looking for the concrete. And I mean, and you criticizing the religious people for dealing with the concrete, but you too busy trying to find the concrete instead of trying to understand that there is the abstract meaning and metaphorical meaning. So again, those people can't disprove the concept of what you call a god or a deity because they have no evidence to do so. And the only thing they can do to go against that principle is combat against religion, particularly Abrahamic religion. That's the only thing that the atheists can do. If they can combat against religion, particularly Abrahamic religion, that's their only argument. Outside of that, they have no argument. They have no argument to actually disprove or discredit anything that is called a creator, because we as human have not been here long enough to know what's going on behind the universe. We don't know. And scientists can't tell you everything that goes on behind the universe. Okay? Because if you got only 70% of it that's deal with, or shall I say, no, let me take that number back. If you only dealing with 70% of the universe that is dark matter, right? 25% of it is dark energy, and only 5% of it is observational, right? Invisible, then you're only going to go by what you can see that is observational. You're only going to go by what is available. Everything else is void because you deal with dark matter, dark energy, so you really don't know enough to say what is actually behind the universe. You don't really know. So that's going to be an ongoing research. So that's why scientists can never say where there is or there isn't no God. They can't really say that. And most of these scientists, they believe in God themselves. Okay, you got scientists that's in Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, Islam, Christianity, Judaism. Okay, and then you got some small percent that are atheists. Then you got those that are agnostic. All right. But yeah, they don't have enough information to say, well, there is no God. That's why people constantly ask question, well, does God have anything to do with creation? Does God have anything to do with universe? Does God have anything to do with this, thing, other? Because it's an ongoing research, because nobody really knows. So people just only create mythology to be able to try to make sense of out of the natural forces that's going on around us. That's what people do. And it's a cultural thing as well. Very cultural. So now, some people found a way to use metaphysics as a way to gain profit, and they can talk a very good rhetoric, very very good rhetoric, to get all their money and accumulate income while everybody else is still trying to figure out how they gonna make money. I mean, we see that. We see people using the idea of metaphysics as you know, as a way to boost their egos and to generate income for themselves for the most part. So yeah, that is very common. But again, if we study, as a matter of fact, if we study what metaphysics is, right? Metaphysics is going to beyond the physical of things, right? You're going beyond physical. So it is a philosophy, and over the years the conscious community have been teaching metaphysics, but they have not taught it the way that it should have been taught. They ain't taught it from the way of understanding as a philosophical point of view, right? So as a matter of fact, real quick before I go off of here, I want to talk a little bit about metaphysics. So let's just look at what metaphysics is real fast. All right, so metaphysics is dealing with the branch of philosophy that studies the fundamental nature of reality, the first principle of being, identity, change, space, time, cause and effect, and necessity and possibility, right? So, metaphysics is considered one of the four main branches of philosophy, along with epistemology, logic, and ethics. It includes question about nature of consciousness and the relationship between mind and matter, between substance and attribute, and between potentiality and actuality, right? So the word metaphysics comes from the Greek word metaphysica, meaning after the physics. So in reference to works that are studied after the study of physics. All right. So basically, I'm saying this to say all that once again. Metaphysics is dealing with the abstract concept of the physical world. So you're dealing with the abstract, right? And that is in the school of philosophy. So people were taught to understand philosophy in the conscious community, especially. And if they're going to deal with metaphysics, then it will all make sense. It will all line up. But you got people that take metaphysics and then they take a Hindu ideology and take other ideology and misconstrue things up, make it into new ageism. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it sounds cute. Don't get me wrong. It's very creative. It's very unique. But you're not teaching what the meaning of metaphysics is. You're using it from a religious point of view, from a spiritual point of view, and not dealing with it from the philosophy point of view. Now, if you want to deal with the spiritual part of metaphysics, that's cool, but you got to also deal with the philosophy so people understand the philosophical meaning of it. All right. So, as a matter of fact, if we go down, let's see. Okay, so right here. Yeah. Let me see. Let me see. No, 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 no. I thought I seen it on here. Hold on. Um. Okay, but anyways, as you can see, you got metaphysical cosmology, right? Which that's pretty cool. So metaphysical cosmology is the branch of metaphysics that deals with the world as the totality of all phenomena and space and time. All right. Then it talks about the mind and matter. So Down here, accounting for the existence of mind in a world largely composed of matter is a metaphysical problem which is so large and important as to have become a specialized subject of study in its own rights philosophy of mind. So you got substance or dualism is a classical theory in which mind and body are essentially different, with the mind having some of the attributes traditionally assigned to the soul, and which creates an immediate conceptual puzzle about how the two interact. Okay, so it says this form of substance dualism differs from the dualism of some Eastern philosophical tradition, which also posit a soul, for the soul under their view is ontologically distant from the mind. Okay, so it talks about idealism, then panpsychism, property dualism, neutral mononism, etc. But yeah, anyways, just deal with that from the, just deal with it from the philosophical standpoint, because at the end of the day, everything starts off as a philosophy. Everything starts off as philosophy. Then once it goes from philosophy, then it becomes different branches. But you gotta remember, everything has a beginning, and that beginning goes back for whether it be social science, science in itself, math, um, politics, economics. It all starts as a philosophical thought. It all goes back to the concept of philosophy. That's where it goes back to. All right. But anyways, that's all I have to say for today. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. So remember, if you guys have not gotten a chance to, make sure you check out the book called The Game of Life and How to Play It. So I'll be looking more into this, and also read the book called Kabbalion. So the Kabbalion, right, which is written by the three initiates, is very similar to Florence Scovel Shinn's book. It's very similar to that. So, but it basically deals with how to understand the universe and nature from a spiritual scientific thought. So it's like you incorporate spirituality, explain the difficulty of science. That's how you gotta understand the Kabbalion book. Dealing with the spirituality to explain the difficulty of science. Whether it be geology, whether it be cosmology, um, astrophysics, whatever. That's basically how that book is broken down. All right. So it's pretty helpful. It's very useful. Some people gonna say it's pseudo, and some people feel like it's inspirational and they was able to gain something out of it. So just look it up for yourself. But anyways, y'all take it easy, and I hope y'all have a good one. So with that being said, may peace and power elevation be to all of you. This your girl Tiffany, and I'm logging off saying deuces. Y'all have a good one. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Until next time.